So now I actually collected the data. Now I am able to use it whenever and wherever I want in the return area in the JSX. So actually not in the JSX specifically, because we can use this state for the details data. So now I can delete that and I can add the curly braces again. But now accessing the state data is quite simple. So to access the data, all we need this dot state dot. Now in the state, what we're talking about the laptops. Now after the laptops, I actually want to access which data set, the 0. If you know the JavaScript and you know the object setup in the JavaScript, so you must know that the indexing starts with the 0 in most of the programming languages anyway. So this is 0 and this is 1 and that's 2. So which data you want to apply right here? You might want to apply the the data set number 2, which is index 1. So I'm going here and I'm writing something like right here and I'm writing 1. Now I'm inside the data set index 1, which is the number 2, but index 1 because the number 1 is index 0. So data set index 1. And now which thing I want to call here? I specifically want to call the RAM because I'm in the RAM area. So now all I need is to type the RAM, whatever we just written here, because now we are in this index now. So we want to call the RAM, or we want to call the HDD, or we want to call the processor. We need to call things accordingly. Now the third thing we need to do is to save it and need to check in a browser. So I'm saving it now. I need to go to the browser and I'm getting some kind of issue now. Right here and at the line. I got it. Actually, this should not be inside the renderer. It's not a simple variable. We need to call this here. And now that's okay. We're not rendering everything of the state. We are rendering some data of the state inside here. So now I'm saving it. Now I need to go to the browser. Now here you can see that I have a laptop with 256 GB RAM. So here, what more I need? I need to go right here and adding in space. And if I want to add the other data like the HDD and the HDD and the processor, so I can call this HDD, this processor there. I'm going here and I'm writing HDD and equal to, and here I'm adding accordingly this dot state dot laptops, and here I'm writing 1 dot HDD and same like that here. Be careful that maybe sometime when you're writing the code you start adding the other data inside the curly braces, which is not an appropriate thing. It won't work. So I got myself out of the curly brace and now I'm writing it outside the processor. I'm telling these things because these are the possibilities, because when I was learning programming, these was the mistakes I did. The small mistakes you think, the bigger they are in reality. So be careful of small mistakes anyway. The state dot laptops. Sometimes we see things and we think that actually we are doing everything fine, but because we was mainly focusing on big things like we have data, we have variables, but sometimes we did a very simple mistakes like, I did everything right, but I added a simple space here, which is not appropriate thing. It should not be there, so I deleted that. So for example, instead of this sign, you by mistake added a comma, so you got stuck, or you just use the S as capital. So these are the problems I'm just showing you that we can do anyway. So I know you're not gonna mistake like you type the here 4 or you type something different, but you can add any space here, or you can just miss the point like that, the period, you can say the period or the point or anything. I was just telling you some scenarios which are possible. So now I'm going to the browser back. Now here I have a laptop with 256 GB RAM, 1.5 TB hard drive, Core i5 processor. I'm going back, and one more thing I can do here, that if for example you want to show something different, or you have a different set, like you have 256 GB RAM but Core i7 processor, so you can do things like that. You can call here the processor from the zero. Now, just showing you a possibility. This is not a very recommended way, because later you can get confused of this kind of data set, because when you have a data set you should follow that, but it can be done like that, 1 and 0. Now we're gonna see the Core i7 as a processor, but everything like the index 1. I'm going to the browser, I'm refreshing the page. Oh, sorry, do not need to refresh the page anyway. Okay, now you can see that the Core i7 processor, 1.5 TB hard drive and 256 GB RAM.